O God of infinite payroll, Queen Mary, Mother of personnel, saints of HR, why hast thou forsaken me? Why hast thou cast me into the fiery pits of eternal damnation and fire and pain that is Paycor, and abandoned all hope who entered? You see, I'm having problems this month with our payroll. You know what payroll is, that income that you use to pay your bills, that money that you exchange at the grocery store for food, that you take with you to buy those dead dinosaurs that we call that expensive gasoline, to go to the office to do your work so that you can earn that income, to pay for the gas, to go to the office, to do your work so you can get the income. It's not like it's balloons or crayons or something unimportant that you don't need. It's kind of vital for most people. But the situation that we have faced the past month, it's like taking your car to get the oil changed. And when you sit in it, after they've changed the oil, you notice a tire is missing. And you just stare at the missing tire space, the empty wheel well, just not believing that it's gone and trying to figure out why. And then you ask someone, why? Why did you take my tire? I came in for an oil change. Why did you touch my tire? And they say, I don't know. Well, put it back. So they put the tire back, but while they're doing that, another technician came by and took the back windshield. And I go, stop! Why are you taking my back windshield? Put it back. I did not say take the back windshield. Leave the back windshield alone. Put it back. And while I'm arguing with that person, another one comes up and takes the windshield wipers off the front. Why are you touching my windshield wipers? Leave the windshield wipers alone. Put them back. Leave them alone. I can't drive in the rain without them. Leave them. And while you're arguing with that one, someone takes the headlights off. How am I going to see at night? Open your eyes more, wider. Put the headlights back on my car. Except we're still driving around with no headlights or windshield wipers because Paycor has yet to fix the mistakes completely. It's a pretty absurd journey that we have been on this past several weeks. It started when we opened our office back up from the COVID apocalypse. After working from home for over 2 years, we decided to return to work in Cincinnati on a hybrid model. So we work 3 days in the office, 2 days in our home offices, which are located in the city of Middletown, a different municipality, which charges a different municipal income tax. Prior to COVID, they were able to figure this out. Middletown requires you pay a higher income tax than Cincinnati, so they were able to withhold 2 different tax rates, one for Cincinnati and one for the difference between the two for Middletown, so that your taxes were paid. You file your little tax return at the end of the year and things are copacetic. Well, when we go back on the hybrid model, we try to make a change to this, and we explain we're working 40% of the work week in Middletown and 60% of the work week in Cincinnati. State law had an exception during COVID that allowed all of the taxes to go to Cincinnati regardless of where you worked remotely. But beginning in January, You have to pay the taxes where the work is done. So we're required to pay 40% of our salaries, tax base, to Middletown, and 60% to Cincinnati. Now, because we're a small company, we have an exemption, and the payroll does not have to withhold both cities for you. It's optional. But if you do it only for one city, then they withhold 100% of the taxes for that city. So you've overpaid. You have to file a tax return there. Then you have to file a tax return in city B, front the taxes for that 40% to pay it, and get a refund, however long it takes them to process it, months, weeks, from city A to get back your money that you had to pay to city B. So it's much more convenient to just have the employer withhold both of them in the correct amounts so that when you file your taxes, you're done, just like we had been doing before. Now, when you call Paycor, their customer service access is not that great. You have to wait in a queue on hold for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half before an actual human being answers the phone. And so, to make this change, my staff member who handles the finances calls them, waits on hold forever, talks to a person, explains what we need to do, and of course they never know the answer to how to do anything. So they have to put you on hold and talk to someone in the appropriate department that handles your problem. So in this case, the tax department. They keep her on hold for about an hour and come back, and they haven't solved it. So she has to call back again. And after several calls, several hours on hold, she finally gets their answer of how they say to set this up. And so they take her to their website and they walk her through step by step. Go to this page, click on this button, enter this number, hit save, go to this page, click on this button, enter this number, hit save. You're good to go. Next payroll you want, run. The percentages will be fine. Your withholdings will be correct. You're done. So the next payroll comes. She runs it. And she happens to be running it from home because her father-in-law had died the morning before, and they're planning the funeral and taking care of all the family business, so she's out of the office on bereavement leave. But we have to have payroll, we have to get paid, so she runs payroll for us. And frantically calls me to let me know payroll is messed up. Whatever they had her enter and walked her through step by step, instead of withholding 40% of the income tax due to City of Middletown and 60% of income tax due to City of Cincinnati, withheld 40% of gross pay for City of Middletown and 0% of anything for City of Cincinnati. So basically, once you account for the other things that were impacted by that large mistake, half of your take-home pay is missing for everyone's payroll. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem for us. We try to keep enough money to pay bills in the account with a little buffer, but it had been an expensive couple of months. We had major repairs to 2 of our vehicles. I put a deposit in for a vacation we're taking next month in July, had some other major expenses, so the account had dwindled down a good bit, and I was counting on this Thursday direct deposit to pay bills on Monday that were going to be coming due on Tuesday and Wednesday. I needed this check, and half of it was missing. So I call Paycor because she's out on bereavement leave, so it falls to me to take care of this. And I sit on hold for over an hour waiting for a human. And then I explain the problem. Of course, he doesn't know what to do. So he has to call the tax department and talk to them. And I'm on hold for over another hour waiting for an answer, with the occasional popping it back onto the line from him saying, I'm still talking to the tax department. We're still working on it. We'll get back with you soon. And so finally he has a solution. And so he takes me first to the pages that they took her and walked her through to reverse everything they told her, because it's the completely wrong section of the entire payroll processing system. Not even close to where they were supposed to do these changes. So they had told her to do it completely wrong. Then he walks me through entering it the correct way, where it should be, which was actually very simple. It shouldn't have taken them an hour to figure that out. So after that, he has me enter a void to void the original payroll. That was wrong. And then we have to figure out how to get the money into our direct deposits that was missing from the payroll, from the take-home pay. So we create a non-taxable reimbursement line, and we process an additional check to transfer that money into the payroll. And we enter a manual check to correct all the numbers, so that once that runs, it'll correct the pay stubs and the W-2s and the tax reporting to the federal government, the state government, and the cities. Because that's kind of important for your quarterly tax payments that people go to jail if they don't do. So we get this all entered, and I ask, okay, is that done? Is that it? This money, I need this money to go into our direct deposits that are scheduled for tomorrow. Is this all taken care of? Is this done? Will direct deposits go through and we get our money as corrected tomorrow? And I asked this several times very clearly, and he very clearly answered, yes, you're done. That's all you have to do. It's taken care of. It's fixed. The money will go in your account. It's all done. You're good. Don't have to do anything else. So I said, thank you. Thank you so much for the help. It took a long time, but thank you so much for getting this taken care of. Have a great day. So then the next day our direct deposits hit, and lo and behold, it's for that original amount that was short half of your paycheck. Isn't that lovely? So we were all very happy about that. So then I have to call back. Wait on hold, this time for about 50 minutes before a human being answers. And I'm on hold. I'm talking to this person for maybe 10 seconds before the line goes dead. And I don't want to call back and wait on hold for another hour to talk to somebody. So I go, during the hold, they keep promoting, you can get an answer in 60 seconds if you use our chat on the website. So I go to the website and I use a little chat, and I get a person within 60 seconds, and I explain the problem, and he doesn't get it. I try to explain the problem again in simpler words. He still doesn't get it. I try to explain to him why his answer to me is completely off the point. And this is the problem I'm talking about, in very simple words, and he still doesn't understand. So I end that chat, and I call back, and I wait, and wait, and I decide to try to chat again. So I go to the chat, and instead of explaining the problem in great detail, I explain it very briefly and say, I was on hold to talk to someone. I was on hold for an hour before they picked up to get a live person to correct the problem that was supposed to be corrected yesterday but was not corrected, and our payroll is still wrong, and we need to get this corrected today so the correct amounts go to our employees' accounts today. I do not want to wait on hold for another hour waiting for a person to pick up. Please give me a direct line to call, preferably to a manager or supervisor who can get this handled immediately. And the response is, I can't do that. All I can do is submit a ticket for expedition, and a manager will email you within a few days to set up an appointment for you to discuss this matter at some point in the near future. And I said, that's not good enough. I need this handled today. You have messed up our payroll. You tried to correct it and did not do so. And I need these payments processed today. And I put that in all caps. She responds with, "We are a place of civility here, and if you are going to resort to yelling at me by using all caps, I will not be able to continue this conversation. All I can do is submit your expedited ticket." So I said, "Submit the expedited ticket then. I am through talking to you." She never submitted the expedited ticket, and she never responded after that message. So I ended that chat. I was still on hold, and finally someone answered, and she seemed competent, which should have been a warning. So she looks at the account. I explained to her everything that has happened. She apologizes. She looks at the account, and she says, "Well, first of all, he didn't tell you to process any of this stuff. It's all just sitting there, unprocessed, so nothing was going to happen. No corrections were going through, no direct deposits, nothing, because it hasn't been processed. It's just sitting there. Secondly, he dated everything to direct deposit on June 30th, not today. So even if it were processed, it wouldn't have hit your account today. It would do it on June 30th. And third, I don't think he did this correctly. I don't think he told you the correct way to handle this. So let me delete everything he did and go in and re-enter it correctly for you. And I can't get it into the accounts today, but I can get it processed so that it will go into the accounts tomorrow." And I said, "Well, that will be fine. As long as before the end of the week, we'll be good." So she emails me. We had had a storm just before this, and so power was out, so I couldn't keep my computer on to go through and do this, enter everything myself. So I had her enter everything to correct it, and so she deleted all of his work and re-entered it all. She emailed me so I could check on my phone the reimbursements to make sure they're the correct amounts, and I looked at them and said, yes, they're the correct amounts. And so she said, "This will go into your accounts tomorrow. Everything's fixed. Everything's good. I'm processing it. You're good to go." So the next day, the missing money shows up in our accounts. We're happy. We're glad. We're good. I can pay the bills. Everything seems to be okay. So 2 weeks go by. And the next payroll gets run for June 30th. Well, it turns out whatever correction she made put all that stuff back in right, but it deleted our health insurance withholding and our charitable gift withholding. So, because health insurance withholding is through a cafeteria plan pre-tax, that reclassified all that money that was supposed to be withheld, which is a lot because health and premiums are expensive, as taxable income, which significantly increased the federal, state, and local income taxes that were withheld, as well as Medicare and Social Security. So all of that was wrong now. So thankfully, my other staff member was off of bereavement leave now, and she was able to call and sit on hold for an hour and then talk to someone and sit on hold while they talk to someone else and spend an entire day trying to straighten this out. But they couldn't get it straightened out. They couldn't figure out how to do it. And they wouldn't close the file. So for us to try and figure it out, we even had this manager, because I had emailed them during all the frustrations 2 weeks before, and a manager had called me to apologize and to look at the file and double check and make sure that everything was right, which it wasn't. And we emailed that manager back, and that manager emailed back and said, "I see you're talking to whoever this person is, and he has the file open." And we said, "Yes, we'd like him to close it so we can try and correct it because he's not doing anything." She didn't go down the hall and tell him to turn it off or exit. It was open on his computer all night. It wasn't until the next morning that it showed that the file was closed and could be accessed by someone else. So the next morning, we look at it and we figure it out, and we managed to get everything corrected, we thought, and then we start to get ready to process it and see, oh, there's something else missing now. Somehow, also, our retirement matching funds were gone. So, and she couldn't figure out how to put that back in. So I looked at it, and I figured out how to get that back on. So we got that back on. So then we processed this corrected payroll. And then today, after processing that, the tax withholding for the incorrect payroll was taken out of our account at work, which leads me to expect that because they have yet to address the original payroll and reverse it to correct those errors, that we're going to get paid double for June 30th. And I have no confidence in Paycor correcting these problems. So I think probably when we switch to ADP on Friday, that they're going to be stuck with trying to figure out Paycor's mess and correct the problems, and then they'll have to file amended tax returns for us for the quarter ending June 30th with the federal government, the state government, and the municipalities, because all of those are going to be wrong unless they can get it corrected tomorrow, which I have no faith that they're going to do. So, Lord, forgive Paycor and their employees, for they know not what they do, especially how to do their jobs. They know not how to do that. It's so absurd. It's so ridiculous. If it hadn't actually happened, I would not believe this comedy of errors could occur. But it did, and it's still not over. Dear Lord, hopefully on Friday, when we join the religion of ADP, I hope that I'm lifted out of Paycor hell. Good night.